And a look at the NFL playoffs. It's coming up. Let's get right into it. Obviously, the most impactful players on the Alabama defense. Let's start with the defense here. Josh Jobe, he's going to be someone to watch at corner. He's probably going to end up covering Adonai Mitchell or George Pickens tonight, so that'll be interesting to watch. Henry To'o, Christian Harris, Jordan Battle, Will Anderson. I just lost my train of thought here. That's the defense. Look at the offense. Bryce Young, he has been amazing all year. Emil Ekiyor, Evan Neal, all on the offensive line. That'll be a tough spot to watch. Jameson Williams, John Mechie, Slade Bolden, they've all been tough this year. Bryce Young, Heisman-winning quarterback. Tight ends Cameron Latu, Major Tennyson, and Jahleel Billingsley. And the most impactful running back is probably Brian Robinson. And watch for Jameson Williams on those kick returns. That's Alabama. All right, welcome to the Georgia preview. Stetson Bennett at quarterback. He wasn't a tough. He might be someone. Brock Bowers, one of the top receiving tight ends. Zamir White, James Cook. That running back combo is amazing. JT Daniels may get some time on the field, but I would be shocked if he did. Adonai Mitchell, Jermaine Burton, and Ladd McConkey at the receiver spots. I don't know what happened to George Pickens, but that's all right. They did have George Pickens on here. I think he must have opted out or something. And then Kendall Milton's also been pretty good, and Kenny McIntosh also have been really good at running back. Jemery Seiler, he'll be someone to watch on the offensive line at that left tackle spot. Then obviously, we've talked about it all year, the Georgia defense. One of the best in the country. Travin Walker, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, all NFL caliber players on the offensive line. Robert Beal, obviously not. N'Kobe Dean and Quay Walker, also caliber. Nolan Smith, another one to watch. Lewis Sine, Darian Kendrick. Those guys will be tough to watch. Those guys will be watching tonight. Jake Camarda is a pretty good punter. Jack Polesny is place kicker. That's the Georgia. My prediction for tonight is Alabama smacks the crap out of Georgia. I go Alabama 49, Georgia 20. That's the score I pick. I pick Bryce Young to have a really, really, really big game against the Georgia defense. Even though the Georgia defense is one of the best in the country, they won't run the ball too much. John Mechie and Jameson Williams have big nights. Slade Bolden has a big night.
Hey Siri, stop talking.
I'm
not sure I understand.
Cameron Latu and Jahleel Billingsley will also have big nights while they're pulling comedy. Anyway, let's get right to the NFL playoff picture. Rams, Cardinals, Tampa and the Eagles, and Cowboys and Niners. The other side, the AFC, Chiefs and Steelers, Bengals and Raiders, and the Bills and Patriots. Yeah. So Rams beat the Cardinals. Tampa smacks the Eagles. Smacks the crap out of the Eagles. I've been using that phrase a lot today. I was at work all day. Anyway, more on them later. And the Cowboys win their game. So with Tampa playing the Cowboys, and Rams and the Packers, that ought to be a fun one. That ought to be fun. Another one to watch is On the AFC side, Chiefs are obviously going to smack the Steelers a second time. And then Bills edge the Patriots. I think that'll be a close one. And then another showdown. And then I go Bengals over the Raiders. So we'll have the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Titans after this first round if it goes the way I think it will. Thank you. Let's look at the coaching carousel for college football now. Starting with Rod Carey. Rod Carey was fired. Stan Drayton, the Texas running back coach, will take over in that spot. Mario Cristobal, obviously we all know he took the Miami job. Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning will be taking that job. Cutcliffe and Duke parted ways, so Mike Elko, the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M, he will be taking over that job. Bronco Mendenhall resigned, so Tony Elliott takes over that job. Jay Norvell, I forget what he did, but Ken Wilson will be taking over that job. Butch Davis was fired. Mike McIntyre takes over that job. Kalen DeBoer, he took the Washington job, if I'm not mistaken. And then Jeff Tedford will be taking over for him. Manny Diaz, he was fired. And they hired Mario Cristobal in his place. Steve Adiazio was fired. And Jay Norvell will be taking over that job. Lincoln Riley, he left Oklahoma for USC. So Brent Venables will take over that job. So Clemson basically lost both their coordinators. Wow. Billy Napier, he left for Oregon. So Michael Desormeaux, that's a French-sounding name. The Louisiana offensive co-offensive coordinator, he'll be taking over that job, the head coaching job. Joe Moorhead, the Oregon offensive coordinator, takes over the job at Akron after Tom Arth was fired. Brian Kelly left for USC, so Marcus Freeman, his defensive coordinator, will take over that job. Chip Lindsey, I think he was fired if I'm not mistaken. John Sumrall takes over that job. Justin Fuente, he was fired. And Brent Pry takes over the job. Ed Ogeron, they agreed to part ways. LSU and Ed Ogeron did. So Brian Kelly took that job. Sonny Cumbie, the Texas Tech offensive coordinator, he takes Skip Holt's job at Louisiana Tech. Clay Helton, he was fired and then took a job at Georgia Southern, but we don't mention that. Lincoln Riley took that job. Sonny Dykes out of SMU takes the TCU job after Gary Patterson got fired. Kalen DeBoer takes over the job at Washington after Jimmy Lake got fired. Rhett Lashley, former Miami offensive coordinator, takes over for Sonny Dykes, who took over at TCU. Billy Napier takes over the job at Florida after Dan Mullen was fired. And then we all know this name, Jerry Kill takes over at New Mexico State after Doug Martin was fired. Jake Dickert takes over at Washington State after the firing of Nick Rolovich over vaccination status. Chad Lunsford was fired. Clay Helton took over. Jim Mora takes over at Connecticut after Randy Edsall was fired. Walt Bell was fired at UMass, and Don Brown takes over that job. And Joey McGuire picks Texas Tech over after Matt Wells fired him. And obviously the extensions, Kalani Sitake signed in extension. Mike Houston extended. Mark Stoops extended. Jeff Hafley extended. Hugh Freeze extended. PJ Fleck extended. Scott Frost extended, Mike Gundy extended, Jonathan Smith and extended, James Franklin extended, Jeff Traylor extended, and Dave Clawson extended. So that is your college football coaching carousel. All right, guys, here is the NFL coaching carousel. Brian Flores fired overnight. He was never made the playoffs in 3 seasons in Miami, but he may be one of the sought-after candidates in this hiring cycle because he finished with a winning record after starting season 1-7, 24-25 in 3 seasons with 2 winning campaigns. Flores went 24-18 in his final 42 games as head coach. Mike Zimmer was fired today after 8 seasons in Minnesota. They were 15-18 over 2 seasons. He was 72-56-1 in his tenure. And failed to make the playoffs. They're 33-31 since losing in the NFC Championship in the 2017 season. And obviously their defense has been crap. Now I'm just putting that lightly. Matt Nagy fired. Obviously we all knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. He was fired after 4 seasons, finished with a 34-31 record with only 1 losing season, and that was this year. Nagy led the Bears to the NFC North title in his first season and won Coach of the Year, but went just 20-27 since. And yeah, Mitchell Trubisky just sucked, and he was supposed to be. Fields struggled in development, so. And then Vic Fangio, we all knew it was coming. He was fired Sunday. John Gruden resigned. And Urban Meyer was fired. So that is, and nobody has been hired yet. So let's